Three, two, one. Hello, welcome to the Dol-Fan UK podcast. Got a really special guest for you today, Ian Berger, Big E. How are you, mate? Thank you for joining us.
Hey, Andy, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this, buddy.
No, man, it's been a long time coming. We're really excited to have you. Obviously joined by Simon and Lee as always. Si, how you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Andy. Really looking forward to having a chat with Ian, actually. And I'm also looking forward to finding out what type of potatoes he likes.
Any potato you can think of, Simon, but I know I know where you're getting that from, though. That's funny.
Yeah. Lee, how you doing? You all right?
Yeah, excited for this. Hey, a true Dolphin celebrity on, so this is awesome.
That's it. We are really excited to have you, man. And I think we'll kick off then, mate, with just a bit of discussion about, it's been a bit of a whirlwind year, I guess, for you. Fan of the year stuff, going to the Super Bowl, all that sort of stuff combined. So, man, I mean, I don't, obviously not a lot's good has come out of the pandemic, but Ian, what do you reckon? I mean, has it been such like a special year for yourself?
It's interesting because my family and I are never going to forget this past year, right? Obviously, we understand the impact that COVID and pandemic has had on everybody, and that's the sad part of things, right? To see how this has turned out. But from a Miami Dolphins perspective, I'll be old and gray. I'll be in my 90s, and I'm still going to be talking about this year as being the Miami Dolphins fan of the year, because it really has been beyond what I could have imagined anything to be. Because as a fan, we love being fans of the Miami Dolphins, right? And this is like the next step that you can only dream of, to be, selected as the fan of the year for the team that you actually truly love, and being able to go to the Super Bowl, that's part of it. And then being able to go to the draft this week, that's going to be part of it. And it's just, and who knows what happens after that, because I'm always going to be the 2020 Dolphins fan of the year. So I think that's so exciting. And I'm just truly humbled by the entire experience. It really has been humbling to me.
That's it, and it's come at like such a kind of special time as well, with the team on the up and that kind of thing. It might have been a bit different for you if Adam Gaze was kind of ruining your experience over there with the corner. But yeah, it's been really kind of really exciting. And talk to us a bit about the kind of you kind of experience, obviously being nominated for the Fan of the Year. How did you find out? And like talk to us about that a bit.
Yeah, so June of last year, I want to say it was, they announced this program, a Fan of the Year, and a bunch of Twitter family members started nominating me, and then I want to say it was August, I got on a podcast with Travis Wingfield, who does all the official Miami Dolphins podcasts, and he put me on, and he was actually following up on a piece that we had done back in April. That's what I was told. And he asked me one quick question. He asked me, what do you think of the draft? What do you think of the upcoming season? Then he said, that's not why I have you on here. I want to let you know that you have actually been selected as a Dolphins fan of the year. And I would just, I was extremely emotional for all those reasons I just shared with you a moment ago. And he told me, he said, you are now one of 32 individuals that can be selected to go to the Super Bowl, because there will be 3 finalists that will go to the Super Bowl and then 1 final winner. And a couple months later, they asked me to put together a 2-minute video about myself and about why I think I should be the fan of the year. Threw something together, and I, talked a little bit about what I do personally and what I've done also for the Dolphins community. And sure enough, they invited me to, so they invited me to Hard Rock Stadium, and they said they were running a marketing piece. This was after the season was over. And they said, we hadn't gotten a chance to really do anything about you because of the season. It was so busy. So we want to put this marketing piece together about you. And I showed up at the stadium. I met my season ticket rep, and they brought me into this room, and this woman was there with two gentlemen were there also with huge industrial cameras. And there was another young lady that was guarding the door. So I thought all of this was a little strange, but I'm like, all right, Miami Dolphins marketing, this is how it works. and they sat me down, and she asked me a generic question. And then she asked me a second question as well. And then her laptop started ringing like a phone call, and she turned it around. It was Solomon Kinley. And he said, Ian, just want to let you know, you're going to the Super Bowl, man. You made it to the final 3. And again, it like all hit me so much, because I said, I didn't think I was as deserving as some of these other fans of the year. Because, the group that they selected were just truly incredible individuals, what they do for their teams, what they do for their communities. It was just truly insane. So So fast forward, I was able to get to the Super Bowl in February. I brought my 13-year-old daughter, and again, these are experiences that we will never forget for the rest of our lives. And then I got told about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, that they're also sending all 32 fans of the year to Cleveland to go to the draft and to announce one of the picks for our team on the third day of the draft. So this is just like, that's like a year in a nutshell as this amazing experience has unfolded. And I am so happy to be part of this, man. It's just been incredible.
Amazing story. And I just want to step back to the 2-minute video that you were asked to produce for the team. And you're one of the most humble guys that I've seen on Twitter. But I just wanted to expand a bit more, if you don't mind, around what was the content around the 2-minute video. What sort of thing did you articulate that made you worthy of being fan of the year, do you think?
What's interesting is that as a Dolphins fan, as I am on Twitter and social media, I really spend the majority of my time talking about Dolphins and what I do for the Dolphins community. My family and we have volunteered for many different events. A couple of them over the last couple of years as being food preparation events where the team actually brought together a bunch of people. We were packing 1 million meals for seniors in the Tri-County area in South Florida. And originally I just started it with my youngest daughter. And then the next year that came along, I got my entire family involved. The next year that came along, not only did I get my family involved, but I also got about 30 of my team members at work involved. So that was important. That I don't think I really articulated that through the process. The other part was the personal side. And again, I don't talk about it too much, but I'm a senior community development manager for my bank. What that means is that I'm making sure that the bank is meeting all of the needs of the community. So we're working with nonprofits. We're lending to, small and or low to moderate income families to make sure that we're being fair in the communities and doing the right things in the communities. And a third part to that too is making sure that we are spending our time sharing our knowledge with community members. So I spend on average about 20 hours a month providing financial education to individuals that really need it. Some of your lower to moderate income families, they don't have that type of education. Not to say they don't have an education, but they don't have the financial education, which is what I'm able to provide. And I do it from kids. Like next week, I'll be working with some pre-kindergartners and kindergartners. And then the next day I'll be working with some high schoolers. And then 2 weeks from now, I'll be working with some families, that range in age from the 30s to the 60s. So that's important to me. And it's just something that I've done most of my career as far as the volunteering is concerned. But I think that was important that I articulated that. And I did all that, pretty much everything to say, here's why I'm a fan. Here's what we've done as a family. Here's what I do in my personal life and my personal career to help people. And that's kind of how I put that 2-minute video together.
Yeah, I won't touch too much on this, but before all of your fan of the year experiences kicked off, you were actually featured on British TV on UK Channel 5, weren't you, I believe? And so you were well known to a lot of the UK fans even before all of this kicked off, weren't you?
Yeah, and that was a fluke, actually. It was just that they were looking for folks in South Florida that were going to be attending the first Miami Dolphins game. And they found me on Twitter and they said, hey, can you do this on like a Wednesday afternoon? And I said, all right, sure. If I'll be on TV, it's cool to be on TV, right? Why not? So again, I got my daughter involved and they came to my house and I didn't let them in, right? Because of everything that's going on with the pandemic, but we stayed outside. The interview went tremendously. I still have a copy of the video because I was just like, this was awesome. And yeah, it showed up on the TV. I understand in UK. I did see it. I actually saw what was run and I was very impressed with what they were able to do. And I was honored to be part of that. That's a big deal. So I was happy.
The big question is, if the Dolphins come to the UK this year, will you be coming with them to join us at the game?
I don't know if it's going to be this year, right? Because one of the things that I always have to look at is my bank account, and I have to, a trip overseas is not cheap, right? But I do know that there are a lot of people that I know through Twitter and through the Dolphins that are in the UK that are like, I've got a place for you to stay already. You know, we got you here. We'll take you to the right places so you don't end up spending too much money, you know. So so I've already gotten that, and I've gotten that from folks that have said also, if we end up in Mexico and, you know, there's a game in Mexico, they're like, yeah, you got free room and board over there. So it's still the air tickets and doing all that stuff. It's a hard thing to look at from a financial standpoint, but that is on my bucket list. I have actually never been to the UK in my life. So that is definitely something on my bucket list, to be able to go to the UK and kind of visit there and see everything and meet some people over there. So
Sounds good. Hopefully it's soon. Yeah, we're hoping to get the Dolphins back this year, aren't we, Si? And just fingers crossed it does happen. But
Yeah,
yeah,
we obviously had the Dolphins penciled in for a London trip last year, didn't we? Unfortunately, but it didn't materialise. So we're hoping, fingers crossed, we'll find out on or around May the 13th, when the schedule's released, that they're coming again. But of course, the Falcons have announced a trip, and they were also on the schedule last year. So you never know what might happen.
yeah, and you know, I think some of the Dolphins home fans would be, I wouldn't say that they'd be upset, but obviously they lose a home game if it is considered a Dolphins home game. But to that, I say we're picking up an additional home game this year too, because of the Giants that we're going to be playing at home. So instead of your normal 8 home games, we're going to have nine home regular season games. And then if they do move one internationally, then we're back to 8 again. So it's not a big deal. And I like seeing the Dolphins actually in an international game, because it's prime time. Everybody gets a chance to watch it, right? Because it's the only game on usually around that time. And it gives our fans all over the world an opportunity to actually be at the game without having to make that flight, you know, to the States. So I'm good with that.
I gotta be honest, I love the fact that the Dolphins are willing to do it. Some of the teams get forced to come over here, and it's I don't know, something just doesn't feel just genuine about those teams being here. But the Dolphins were, you know, were obviously the first team to come over here when they started playing regular season games, and they've offered to come multiple occasions. I think that's just a great situation to be in. I think it shows a forward-thinking organization, because there's a lot of fans who now travel to the States to see the Dolphins play. There's a big fan base here. You know, it's not,
Sure.
you know, and I don't think it's the same for all the teams in the league.
I think one of the reasons for that, Lee, I believe, is the Dolphins are normally a pleasure to deal with. Ian, we had Alistair Kirkwood on the podcast a few months back, and he was, until recently, the managing director of the NFL in the UK, and he said on all the visits the Dolphins have had to London, they've always been a pleasure to deal with. And I guess you can testify to a certain extent, can't you, having worked with them on your Fan of the Year experience?
Yeah, no, and they really have been tremendous. And, you know, you just look at everything that has been done, especially under Tom Garfinkel's leadership, as far as what they've done with the stadium, as far as what they've done to try and help with, you know, some of the things that are going on, like the Dolphins Cancer Challenge that just happened a couple weekends ago, the feeding individuals over the last year through this pandemic. They are truly a top class organization. So I'm glad to hear that it flows overseas as well, because I believe it. I think it's true.
I got to be honest, this is going to sound kind of a little bit silly, but there was something about when watching the Grand Prix the other day and seeing Tom Garfinkel at the Grand Prix after organizing the stuff behind the Miami Grand Prix, and thinking, and kind of in a way being proud that that's a person associated with the organization you follow. Do you know what I mean? Because everything's done the right way. And I say, I know that there's going to be some people listening to that saying, "What is he talking about?" But it's true. You know, sometimes when you see people come up on screen, the guys over here will know this week with what happened with the Super League. You see a picture of Daniel Levy on TV today. People are not necessarily over the moon about it, but seeing Tom Garfinkel in the F1 paddock the other day, you know, you're like, yeah, that guy's associated with the Dolphins. That's awesome. And you know, little things like he interacts with fans. They get stuff done that fans want. I mean, you can't ask anything more than that.
No, and they've done a tremendous job as an organization to really reach out to fans. And I've seen, and you guys have probably seen it on social media too, where, like someone will have a birthday and then all of a sudden the Dolphins will send them like a care package to wish them a happy birthday, and they weren't expecting it, right? Or, somebody's had a hard time finding something and then all of a sudden the Dolphins send it to them at no cost, right? And I'm sure they don't do that 100% of the time because they probably would be broke as an organization if they did that a lot. But some of the stuff that they do is just, I look at it and I say, this is why I like this team so much, right? It's not just because if you think about it, we are fans of the logo. The players are going to change every couple of years, every 5 years, every 10 years. But at the end of the day, we are fans of the Miami Dolphins, and they, as an organization, seem to have the right recipe to make things work right and continue to get better. So, so again, I give all the leaders of the team a significant thumbs up. And I have to say also, Stephen Ross, people give Mr. Ross a hard time often, right? But all he does is try and make things better. And he knows he's not a football guy. He's not going to be the general manager like you got in Dallas, but he is going to pay the money to make our stadium look right, to try and get the right coaches in place and the right general managers in place. Yeah, it hasn't worked, for the last 15 or 20 years, but it's not because he hasn't been trying. So, that's an important thing to remember.
Especially if anyone's ever watched the Cincinnati Bengals Hard Knocks and stuff like that, you see the team facilities and stuff, and you think like these owners, that not all the owners are willing to put their money where their mouth is. And Steve Ross has done that all the way through. Like you say, doesn't always work out, but it's certainly not through his intentions being in the wrong place. It's always in the right. He's always willing to spend. Like even when the team cut players, you think, there must be times where he's thinking, wow, I'm still paying these guys and they're not even on my team anymore. But they're willing to do that because it's getting towards a winning team. And that's, the overall goal.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, the goal is of Stephen Ross and the Dolphins organization is to actually get to the Super Bowl, but you've actually been to the Super Bowl, haven't you, Ian? And I want to, can you talk a little bit about your experiences on game day and what you were up to, how you got involved in terms of what the lead up to the announcement was like, and all that sort of thing?
Yeah, when I say the NFL is top notch and they take great care of us, that's an understatement. And they had us in a hotel in Tampa, and they did offer to fly my daughter and I out from Fort Lauderdale to Tampa, but that's probably about an hour and a half flight, maybe an hour flight. And it would have taken more time sitting at the airport, checking in and then checking out and doing all that stuff. So it's only about a 3-hour drive from our house. So we ended up driving up there. The hotel that they put us at was right off of the water, off of Tampa Bay, and it was gorgeous. And it was one of those places where they had like 10 bikes just sitting there, letting the individuals that are staying at the hotel jump on a bicycle and ride around the neighborhood. And it was amazing. And prior to the Super Bowl, so I have to say this because Tampa did a tremendous job also, especially with what's going on in the community. They do a kind of a pre-game festivities where you can go and you can throw a football into a net. You can get pictures with the Lombardi Trophy. You can do all these different activities, and it's spread out throughout all of downtown Tampa. And they did a tremendous job with that. And as the fans of the year as well, we got these little bracelets that got us to the front of the line. So that definitely helped us. But we got a chance also to see all of the Super Bowl rings that have been provided throughout the years, including the Miami Dolphins Super Bowl rings, which was definitely one of the highlights of that experience. And also we got a chance to see like locker rooms, what they look like. And we got a chance to see Tua's locker, it all set up. And then heading to the game on Super Bowl Sunday, we had to get there really, really early because I think the folks that were in charge of this were afraid that we were going to be late. So we got there. I think we got there. The game didn't start till 6:30. And I want to say we got there at like 10 or 11. It was really, really, really early. So really all I did when I got there, I sat in my seats and I was sitting there with my daughter. There was really no one else in the stadium at the time. And we were just soaking it all in. When you look at the stadium, and of course we had all the cardboard cutouts, all in different places, but just understanding that I'm at the Super Bowl at a year when not a lot of people can really go to this Super Bowl. And I'm going to see Tom Brady versus Patrick Mahomes in the biggest game of the year. That all kind of hit me all at once. And I just said, I couldn't believe it that I was there. And right before the game started, and not a lot of people know this, but right before the game started, myself and the two other finalists for the fan of the year were actually brought down to the entertainment stage. Usually they have you on the field, but this year it was a little different. They had you on an entertainment stage on the first level, and they announced us. We were actually all on the Jumbotron right before the game started. So not only were we at the Super Bowl, but I was on the Jumbotron live being announced before this game started. So it was a tremendous opportunity, tremendous experience. And then the game happened. And I keep telling everybody that we were so looking forward to the Super Bowl and the event. And we were rushing time. We were hoping that it would get there, right? We were like looking at our watches every day, looking at the calendar. And then when it happened so fast. And I kind of wish that I was still sitting in the stadium experiencing the Super Bowl, because it had such a great impact and it was so important to us and so much fun. And then of course the halftime show was great too, to see the Weeknd, he was performing right down below, and to be part of that was just spectacular. It really was. It was a fun event, and we didn't get back to the hotel, I want to say, till midnight or a little after midnight, but we just had such a great time. It really didn't matter. It was amazing.
Nice, man. Yeah, sounds great, and hopefully it'll be a Dolphins Super Bowl to do a similar thing with soon.